urge the IG to deploy more officers to Owan Federal Constituency, especially to the border town of Uzeba, which is now becoming a notorious haven for bandits and kidnappers. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to this motion? Honorable Kaoje.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Bello Kaoje. I represent the good people of Bagudo and Suru Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kebbi State. I rise to second the motion moved by the leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Police Affairs for further legislative action. The last but not the least is a motion coming from Honorable Akani Clement, member representing Ila, Boluwaduro, Ifadeyo Federal Constituency of Osun State. If Honorable Akani is around, please kindly rise and move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Clement Ademola Akoni. I represent Boluwaduro, Ifadeyo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to move that we suspend our relevant rule on Order 8 through 5 to allow me move the motion of this public importance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to the first leg? Honorable Bio.
His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues, Mohammed Omar Bio is my name. I speak for the people of Baruten and Kayama Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I come from Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues, I rise to second the first leg of the motion to enable honorable to take this matter of urgent public importance. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg of the motion, any seconder? Honorable Pascal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear honorable colleagues, Honorable Pascal Abodike, Ehala Federal Constituency, I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please proceed and lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Akoni Clement Ademola. I represent Ilaboluwadro Ifadeyo Federal Constituency of Osun State. I rise this morning to move a motion on the urgent need to investigate the distribution of food palliative, item palliatives and non-payment of money to contractors by the Federal Ministry of Food and Agriculture and Food Security. The House notes that the National Assembly a few months ago approved the sum of 819.5 billion presented by the President, which included a 500 billion naira palliative package to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. Also note that the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security only distributed rice and food items as palliatives and sort of constituency projects worth of 100 million per federal constituency. Further notes that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security issues bill of quantity to successful contractors who were responsible to carry out the procurement for onward distribution to the federal constituencies. Aware that...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Order. Privilege.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I come under privilege that we are objecting to this motion because the issues being canvassed are not within the public sphere and we have not been properly and adequately briefed, and if not properly handled, could be misconstrued, misinterpreted, and mispresented to confuse the public. And I want to say you should step it down and you should approach the leader and the DS for further consultation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, did you hear the position of the leader of the House concerning your motion? Are you in support of stepping down the motion for further consultation or not?
I can't go against my leader, Mr. Speaker.
What did you say?
I cannot go against my leader, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. So motion stepped down by the leave of the House. Thank you very much. Honorable Sada, please, 1 minute. Honorable colleagues, before we go to the next item, I want to gladly inform you that Honorable Anderson Allison Ibix is now the new Deputy Chairman on the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. He has taken over from Honorable Monachim Alozi. Honorable Anderson, congratulations. Honorable colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of 3 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members.
Clerk, please, can you restrain? Let us take personal explanation before we come to this. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for yielding the floor. The Ian Zanzao, the Agbaking of Ekiti land, and soon to be conferred a high chief in Ibadan land. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, by the leave of the House, I rise on Order 8, Rule 6, to give a personal explanation on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act of 2019 as amended to establish Federal Artificial Intelligence Institute, Benue State, for the purpose of providing qualitative and structured education in artificial intelligence technology and for related matters. I wish to submit, Mr. Speaker, that you know that the artificial intelligence is a very highly skilled set of technology tools that requires very extensive due diligence. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, relying on Order 20, Rule 40, F and G, that all matters relating to information technology be referred to the Committee on Digital and Communication Technology. I would like to pray, or I wish to submit that the bill should be referred to the House Committee on Federal Polytechnic, as well as Digital and Communication Technology and Higher Education. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to this request? Even though personal explanation, do we need to obtain, is something that we need to just correct? Clerk, can we get the position of, is it just to correct and add without calling to vote? No vote, right? It's not, it's just, no change and adding. He wants cyber security to be added. Okay, honorable member, your request is noted, and the secretariat has been requested to note accordingly. Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order.
Honorable Yusuf Gadi,
Yes, Mr.
are
Speaker.
you coming under personal explanation as
Yes,
well?
Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 6, Rule 1, 2, and 3 to cure what the decisions that have been taken. Mr. Speaker, if a resolution of a House is being passed on a particular subject matter, like my brother did come up under personal explanation, you cannot change the resolution under personal explanation. Rather, he come under substantive motion, applying for the House to rescind its decision on the earlier resolution taken by the House, then that is cured. But as it is, if we just note it and allow him to be included in the committee that should superintend under that bill, legally it can be queried. So I appeal that he should come under a substantive motion applying to the House to rescind its decision on the resolution taken, to refer to that motion to one committee. Rather, it should be under two committees, including the other committee on telecommunication and digital economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you for your observation, but I call the attention of the clerk to guide us in these circumstances. But I think what you have said makes a lot of sense. I will take note. So please, while we already taken decision, let us formalize it on Tuesday next week by coming up with a substantive motion to rescind the earlier decision. Thank you very much. Honorable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 3 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024, first reading. Compulsory Free Universal Basic Education Act Amendment Bill 2024, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Finance on the issue from the Federal Inland Revenue Service Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Inland Revenue Account, the total sum of 446 billion, 342 million, 696,992 naira only, of which 177 billion 441 million 479,682 naira only is for personnel cost, while the sum of 156 billion 454 million 385,055 naira only is for overhead cost, and the sum of 112 billion 446 million 832,255 naira only is for capital cost for the year ending 31st December 2024. Standing in the name of Honorable James Dr. Abiodun Faleke, Honorable Faleke is invited to present the report. Honorable, you don't seem so. Next time I will not read your. You always make mistake in your names.
No, it's the clerk. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Dr. James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Finance on the issue from the Federal Inland Revenue Service Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Inland Revenue Account the total sum of 446,342,696,992 naira only, of which 77 billion 441,479,682 naira only is for personnel cost, while the sum of 156 billion 454,385,055 naira only is for overhead cost, and the sum of 112 billion 446,842,255 naira only is for capital cost for the year ending 31st December 2024. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move. Thank you.
Is Honorable Saidu, the Deputy Chairman, around? He's not around. Okay, Honorable from Gombe, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Abdullahi Rashid, member representing the Kunafada Federal Constituency from Gombe State. I rise to second a motion heavily moved by our chairman, the Chairman House Committee on Finance, that the House do receive the 2024 Federal Inland Revenue Service budget. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Faleke, please proceed and lay your report. The first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Reserve Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 1,147,610,283 naira only, of which the sum of 140,915,3,856 naira only is for personnel cost, and the sum of 280,527,373,668 naira only is for overhead cost, while the balance of 726,338,232,759 naira only is for capital projects. For the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year ending 31st December 2024, standing in the name of the House Leader. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 13th March 2024. I now invite the leader to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, Professor Julius Ihonvere, Owan Federal Constituency, Edo State. I rise to move that, I'm trying to look for a shortcut, but there's no way to do this, that a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 1,147,610,280 naira only, as ably rendered by our eloquent and efficient speaker, have been read a second time. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Batera.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Mukhtar Betar Aliu from Borno State. I rise to second the motion as moved by the House Leader. I so move.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk?
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 1,147,780,610,283 naira only, of which the sum of 140,915,3,856 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 280,523,668 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 726,338,232,759 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and for financial year ending 31st December 2024. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Federal Capital Territory and Federal Capital Territory Area Councils and Ancillary Matters for further legislative action. The second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend Section 13 of the Electoral Act 2022 to introduce new provisions to ensure that a person seeking transfer of his or voters' registration data resides in the constituency to which he or she applied and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable James Abiodun Faleke, Doctor, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 27th February 2024. I now invite Honorable Faleke to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is James Abiodun Faleke, Doctor. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for a bill of an act to amend Section 13 of the Electoral Act 2022 to introduce new provisions to ensure that a person seeking transfer of his or her voters' registration data residing in constituency to which he or she applied and for related matters,
Minority Leader,
AB 1133 be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? But I must warn you, for you to second any motion from Dr. Faleke, you must be a very strong man. Eh? It's not just anybody that can have that audacity to second his motion. But I see the custom man and I know his neck is very strong. You have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Legabej, this is my name. I represent the good people of Yaba East, Yaba West, Mapam Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to second the motion moved by the House Committee on Finance, Honorable James Abiodun Faleke, Doctor, that the bill should be read the second time. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. I thought this fasting is not gone too far for us to lose our voice. Honorable Faleke, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Once again, my name is Dr. James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the amendment I seek to Section 13 of the Electoral Act is to cure the lacuna that exists in transfer of voters' card from one constituency to a new constituency where the voter intends to reside or where he resides. Section 13 of the existing Act, Section 13(3) of the existing Act says, the resident electoral commissioner to whom an application is made under this section shall cause the applicant's name to be entered in the transfer voters list if he or she, that's the word, if he or she is satisfied that the applicant is resident in a polling area in the constituency and is registered in another constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what we are seeking to introduce is to amend that Section 13 and introduce new subsection 4 and 5, and the substitute Section 13(4) is renumbered as subsection 6. The main clause is the subsection 4, as newly introduced, that the person seeking the transfer must show evidence, physical or otherwise, to the resident electoral commissioner of his existence in his new place of abode. This evidence is by showing the applicant's utility bill, the applicant's name, as well as evidences of his residence by the community leader or the district leader, as the case may be. Honorable Speaker, member, the main Section 5 is that the originals of the utility bills and letter of confirmation must be physically shown to the electoral officer by the applicant at the point of taking his or her biometrics. This is the main cross of the amendments. While subsection 6 of Section 13 repeated the provisions of the subsection 4 of the Electoral Act. The amendments is...
Our leader is a bill that is needed. It is difficult, very difficult in Nigeria to prove residency. Residency is proven by getting a driver's license in the area where you reside, or showing something to show that you reside there permanently. No country can operate without a structure wherein somebody can establish his residency. This bill, if it is meant to show that when you are traveling from outside the country or you're a citizen of another country migrating to Nigeria to come and vote, because this bill is targeted at voting, it is going to be very easy for all of us. But somebody who is born, bred in Lagos, and is in Ogun State, and wants to go to his state to vote, and when he gets there, the house wherein he wants to reside.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, as per our procedure on this floor of the House is, those that are for the bill should be allowed to make their contributions. Then later on, those that are against the bill, I'm coming under privilege.
Well, it is not, that is just a style.
Because I understand he's against the bill. And we have those, particularly my home.
It doesn't matter, Honorable, because it is not in our standing rule that we have to start with those in support and then those against later.
Thank you,
it's
Mr.
usually
Speaker.
just a matter of style, so he has the floor.
Thank
Please
you,
continue.
Mr. Speaker, for protecting me. My leader, I am experienced in this area. I am an immigration lawyer and I practiced law for over 28 years in this area, so I can talk authoritatively on it. Now, I want to say to the House that if we need to establish residency, we must make it concretely clear that anybody
Any person who wants to be a resident of a state must have resided in that state for a minimum of 6 months. Clear and clear. And once that person has resided in that state for 6 months, you may not transfer your voter's card within that 6 months until the election is finished. But when somebody is uncomfortable in a state or in a place and he wants to go home, we cannot, as a matter of constitutional right, stop migration. So, Mr. Speaker, in as much as I adore our leader for bringing up this bill, the House must first of all put up structures and bills that establishes residency in Nigeria. How long does a person have to reside in a place before you tell him you are from Yoruba, you are from Igbo, you are from Hausa, you are from this, you can't go and vote? Because even those who are resident in some states are prevented from voting. So how do we now want to say you want to stop that person from going to a place where he knows that he is born from, or he resides, or his parents resides, where he is received? You got to now stop him from migrating to vote. I said to the House, this bill is appropriate, but at this time, it is going to be difficult to enforce. Electricity bill can be in somebody else's name. EEDC will not allow you to vote or to even reside in a place unless you have cleared the electricity bill in that particular address. If that address you want to reside is not.
Honorable, I think you have made your point. You are just being repetitive.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone in support, since we have opened the floor for contribution? Yes, Honorable Jahan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Ahmed Jaha Babao is my name. I represent Chibok, Damboa, and Goza Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, from my understanding for the sponsor of the bill, is like he's trying to know that whether or you should be a taxpayer in that particular constituency before you will be given the right to vote and be voted for. What he's trying to say in a nutshell is, I cannot be in maybe one constituency in Lagos and transfer my data to vote and be voted for to another constituency, maybe in Enugu, while I don't have traces of tax payment, I don't have traces of residency, I don't have traces. In other words, I shouldn't be participating in voting for a representative or a leader in that particular constituency of which I am not a resident or I am not a taxpayer. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my understanding of this bill is trying
Honorable
to
Abdul Malik, please. Just sorry for the interruption. Abdul Malik Zubair, can I see you, please?
Is trying to cure a situation whereby somebody can be somewhere and participate in the process of selecting either a representative or a leader in another constituency simply because he has transferred his or her voting data to that particular constituency. In other words, you are trying to participate in the selection process of a representative that is not representing you. That is my understanding. So I am in support of this. What we are trying to fix here is members should understand where we are coming from. So it's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so order, please, order. Is there anyone who wants to speak against? Anyone who wants to speak in favor? Okay, so I'll recognize one from each. I will recognize Honorable Sadu Soli to speak in favor, after which Cyril will speak against.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Sada Soli Jibia, representing Jibia Keita Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I think this amendment to the Electoral Act is revolutionary, is dynamic, and is futuristic. Our laws must be futuristic. It's just like the US electoral system. A person can transfer his voting right to a location, but he must identify a residency. How do you identify a residency? Through a license? My brother is there. He knows the rules. You can't just transfer things like that. And if you look at the existing law, the existing law of the Electoral Act says the resident electoral commissioner to whom an application is made under the section shall cause the applicant's name to be...
Order, please. Order. Order.
If he or she is satisfied the applicant is resident in a polling area, how would the electoral officer know that the person voting, how would the electoral officer certify and agree that the person transferring his voter's card is a resident within the polling area? What this amendment is seeking is there must be some evidence to show that the person truly is a resident within the polling area. How? And this, there is need for some supporting documents to prove that. And it's revolutionary. It will improve the sanctity of our Electoral Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Cyril. After you, would just put the question, please.
You're right, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Kelechi Wogu. I represent the people. My name is Honorable Kelechi Wogu. I represent the people of Echie Omoma Federal Constituency. I'm from River State, the treasure base of the nation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. When we talk about utility bill, utility bill means the landlord. As a tenant, the utility bill comes directly in the name of the landlord, not the tenant. Now, Mr. Speaker, if you limit this to say that you must produce your utility bill for you to be able to be transferred to a different location, are you limiting it to the landlord or you're limiting it to the tenant? Now, if you also talk about the traditional rulers, the youth leaders giving recommendations, we all know that who recommend someone to be a traditional ruler? We are going directly in a political way, whether you like it or not, whether we try to hide it in this parliament or not. We know that it behoves in the powers of the governors to recognize a traditional ruler. So are you now saying that the campaign of election should now be directly in the palace of the traditional rulers? Because that is exactly what we are going to do now if this bill gets through. So, Mr. Speaker, I want us to expunge the utility bill, because a utility bill cannot come on the name of a tenant, and I'm going to the Resident Electoral Commission to present it that I should be transferred, whereas the name in that utility bill is not my name. And we are going to create space for fake utility bills, because that is what... Can you allow me to speak? I have the floor. Right on this speaker. So I'm saying that that utility bill should be, utility clause should be expunged, because when you do that, you are going to give room for people to manipulate utility bills, because utility bills comes in the name of the landlord and not that of the tenant. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, before putting the question, just a point of clarification. If we believe in the intent of the bill itself, we can still go ahead and give a blessing to it, knowing fully that we have two other opportunities to correct any inadequacy the bill has. I'm just making a clarification. You can use the public hearing to make amendments to issues that are deficient. So also during the committee of the whole.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
If the bill, in your own view, is materially deficient, and you think that it is not good enough, then you can take your decision. My own is just to make clarification to enable you to take objective decision on this issue. Leader, DS.
Your Excellency, the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, Yan Zaza. Honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezie Carlo, and I represent the people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, this bill will cause the defranchising of so many Nigerians, especially those who are highly mobile. That is my people. I'm an Igbo man, sir. And Igbos are known for moving around from place to place. If you look at this bill, we are handing over the powers to those who are the landlord or the community leaders. Let me read you this. It says,